in the month of May. 29th May was Everest Marathon, where I was at 17,600 feet, where the temperature was in minus. I came back to India, and in July I went to US to do Badwater, where the temperature was 53 degrees plus.
That's the Death Valley.
That's Death Valley, and that is the hottest place on the planet.
Now you decided to do a physical event in Leh.
So there is snow, when there is a fresh snow, it is good when you go on a honeymoon or when you are when you are enjoying yourself, you're on holiday maybe. But when you're running, it becomes difficult because you're wearing sports shoes. The white snow gets converted into black ice.
Right, and you're slipping all over.
It was terrible.
We totally get that you have figured out your physical endurance part. Totally get that this must be a more mental thing after you've conquered your physical limits. What are the thoughts, or is it an empty mind when you're running?
There are plenty of thoughts which come in your mind, and I talk to myself, I shout, but I make sure that nobody's around. There were doctors who were running with me. Doctors said that, if this continues for a while, there can be a permanent disability. So we have to be very careful. They said, इनका heart ऐसा है. So I got scared. इनका heart को क्या हो गया? I said, there is something wrong. Then the cardiologist came and they said, I was eating everything because, I can't have...
When you say everything, explain what's everything.
We used to have biryani for first, 35 days. Every day, almost every day.
The Pakistani team is getting trolled while you say this.
The cutoff was 72 hours and I finished my run in 71 hours, 59 minutes, 29 seconds.
31 seconds
31
to go.
seconds prior. So it was an absolutely emotional finish.
I'm getting goosebumps.
And there's a video to it.
So, आप बोल रहे हो आप ये सब खुशी के लिए कर रहे हैं, happiness के लिए कर रहे हैं, लेकिन वो happiness is coming at the cost of a lot of misery, I believe. I mean, when you walk 22 hours, you're dead tired probably. Has there been a chance that some doctors have walked up to you and said, hey, you're going to wear out your knees very fast because you're running so much? Is there something like overusing our body? Today we have a personality who has broken limits of human endurance. उन्होंने इतना ज़्यादा दौड़ा है आज तक कि शायद उन्होंने पृथ्वी के 1-2 चक्कर भी काट लिए होंगे इन टोटल किलोमीटर्स अगर हम देखें तो. But to introduce you, Ashish Kasodekar, a Guinness World Record holder. The Guinness World is for consecutive days of marathons for 60 days. Then he ran the low to high, that is, he started from the lowest point in India, which is Kuttanad in Kerala, which is minus 2.2 meters below sea level, and then he decided to run all the way to Umlingla in Leh district, which is at a height of 5,798 meters, and that was a total distance of 4,005 kilometers.
4,003 kilometers.
4,003 kilometers, which you ran over 76 days. And you were running days. Every day consecutively for 76 days, yes. Right? It was not like you ran parts of it.
The 76 number was special. So we'll talk about that in detail.
Okay. So you ran for 76 days. Then you are a finisher of some of the toughest marathons in the world. You have completed the Badwater, which is Badwater 135. Death Valley, USA. Very few people have completed it. You have done the highest extreme race, which is 60 kilometers of a marathon at Everest Base Camp, I believe. And then the cruelest, and probably you're very well known for that, is for doing the La Ultra 555, Absolutely. 333, 111, whatever numbers below 555, you've done all of those.
I wait for reasons to go to Ladakh, that's right.
And then not only that, you've done the Comrades 89, and then you've done the Border Ultra, the Hennur Bamboo Ultra, Pauri Garhwal Ultra. So any marathon that has the Ultra in it, you've probably done it by now.
Yeah, so basically anything which is beyond 42 kilometers is an ultra marathon.
Yeah, but you're not only known for running. I think you just basically love to spend hours doing mile munching of any sorts. Because what I understand is you've done cycling again from Khambat to Khardungla, 18,000 feet. That is 2,072 kilometers. I don't have the number of days you completed this in, but I believe this is going to be sub 20 if you can run in 76.
So there was no target of any specific number of days. Yeah. So I think we took about 25 or 26 days to finish.
You have again cycled 1,400 kilometers in the UK from London to Edinburgh. And then there's a special title that you called Celebrating Life, wherein you don't chase records, you just celebrate life. So you decided to climb the equivalent height of what you do while climbing an Everest by just climbing stuff in Pune, I think.
That is Everesting. So basically, the
Yeah.
idea is if you don't have money to go to Everest,
Yeah.
might as well do Everesting in Pune.
Yeah, so we'll talk more about that. But you also love to ride motorcycles. So is this a cycle when you say the bum burner bike ride?
Bike ride, yes.
That's a motorcycle ride.
Bum burner, that's on motorcycle.
So you did Pune to Madurai, 2,400 kilometers in straight 36 hours. So you basically kept riding.
Absolutely. The name is bum burner, so
Yeah.
you have to burn your bum. So
Yeah. On one fine summer morning, I think you decided, it was a winter morning, December. You decided that you're going to walk from Pune to Pachgani, which you did in 23 hours. That's what, 100 kilometers, I believe. 100 plus a little bit.
right.
And then you again went Pune to Goa non-stop without a break. You cycled 450 kilometers in 22 hours. So Ashish, the question is why? Why this madness? Why are you doing these things?
Beauty. So when you talk about distances and when you're reading about this, I'm sure everybody must be saying that, what a madman.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, I just love this. When people call you mad, you're on the right track. You're doing something good for yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're not doing anything in life, then nobody will talk about you. So I just love the concept when people call me mad. I said, chalo, aaj ka certificate ho gaya. So I follow that.
Yeah.
Just had one fine day. So it is not one fine day. This Pune to Pachgani walk, Pune to Goa cycling, Bun Burner, all these things were to celebrate a particular day.
Acha.
So I've been celebrating all these special days, 11, 11, 11. So that's
Acha.
in 2011. We had 11th November 2011. Then we had 12, 12, 12.
Easy to remember.
Absolutely. So, when there are special dates, people talk about, you get these messages on WhatsApp. This is a special day coming after 2 years and 200 years, whatever. You get different messages. But then I said, if this is so special, why not make it special from my side? Otherwise, it's a normal day. Just day comes and goes.
Yeah.
So why not make it special from my side? So how do I make it special? Do something for it. Idea was to start one day prior and reach to that destination by way of cycling, way of walking. And all my friends used to come there and then we will celebrate that day.
They used to come together, they used to ride with you, or they would arrive by their own means?
Return was with a vehicle. Return proper with the leisure time. So
Acha.
it was because we celebrated that day anyway.
Right.
So that was the celebration.
Right.
Important is, I always feel that, one must celebrate something where what you're going to get, the answer should be happiness. Usually, whatever we do in life, we do it for a purpose. Either we're getting money or we're going to get a medal or we're going to get a certificate. But if you ask me, we must do something in life where if somebody asks you what you're going to get out of this, the answer should be happiness. And that gives you a lot of happiness and that energy because, you do something which you love to do, which you're passionate about.
But let me pause you here for a second. So आप बोल रहे हो आप ये सब खुशी के लिए कर रहे हैं, happiness के लिए कर रहे हैं, लेकिन वो happiness is coming at the cost of a lot of misery, I believe. I mean, when you walk 22 hours, you're dead tired probably, or maybe you're a superhuman if you're not. Your muscles are aching, your body's probably sore by doing all of these things. And you see, I feel happy when my body turns into a sore, mass of flesh. Explain that, please.
It's very important. When you are happy about doing something, like I can give an example. Suppose if you have to get a tattoo done, okay, it has to come from within. If you say, "Arey, tattoo banana hai," then it won't pain you much. But if somebody tells you to do it, "Arey, tattoo banao," then even if that fellow pricks that needle, it will pain you. So when you decide to do something with your own heart, then the pain is not so much. Other thing, when you're focused about your goal, when you want to do something, my target was to do 100 kilometers of walk. That was the initial stage. But when I'm focused about the activities, then small things remain small. They don't become big. If you're not focused, even if you little go here and there, then the small thing starts becoming big. Means little bit of pain, ankle pain, meetings. There can be a lot of excuses, you can say. So, that becomes your pain. And now I'm at a stage where, these things doesn't bother me at all. I just love myself and I'm in that zone. And all those things I've learned over the period. This not happened overnight. It is over the period. In 2013, when I 2009, I think my journey started in 2009, outdoor activities. So when I did enduro, so there used to be an event called enduro where two boys and one girl.
Yeah.
They used to team. They have to do that activity together.
It's like a triathlon kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and there was no glamour anywhere. Now
Achha.
triathlon has a glamour. So
Right.
endurance, you have to push yourself. Two boys and one girl, they have to come together. They have to do that cycling. They had to climb that mountain. There was no GPS. You find your own way. River crossing, all those things. That was my first activity.
Achha. This is
when I-
2009 you're saying.
2009, I think.
And that means you've not done these activities before that?
I've always been a basketball player.
Achha.
So
But that's not endurance. That's pure sports.
pure sport. Like even if you ask me today, what is your first love, is basketball.
Achha.
So always been a basketball player as a child, spending time on the ground.
Yeah.
I enjoyed myself playing basketball.
Yeah.
In 2009, when I did this enduro, that's where I got a chance to learn how to push yourself.
Achha.
How to be awake the whole night and then push yourself, get your members together. Of course, basketball taught me the importance of team event. The same way endurance was, again, be with those two people and then be there on that field. Push yourself, be awake in the night, and then you move ahead. So all those things I learned in enduro. And 2013 was my first run of 15 kilometers.
Did you complete the first attempt?
Which one?
The
enduro?
2009 one?
Absolutely. See, fitness-wise, there was no issue.
Achha.
Okay, because I was playing basketball, and fitness-wise, there was no issue. In fact, we got a podium. And when you get a podium, then it encourages you more.
Success breeds more success.
Absolutely. And in 2013, when I did my first run of 15 kilometers, it was from BMCC ground to Chandani Chowk and back.
Achha.
Okay, it was a 15-kilometer run. I did it very comfortably. Running is the only sport where everybody is rewarded. You come to the finish line, you have a medal for yourself. No other sport has that, because you have to be in first three to get something. So running, you get a medal. So but basically, medal is to get that feel of accomplishment. That I've achieved
It's a souvenir.
something.
I
It's
completed
a
something.
wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So when I did my first run, I saw the Zumba warm up, and there was a huge number of people, the pretty girls around. So many things happening there. I said, yeah, this is something interesting. I must do a few more runs.
This is 2015, just to remind
2013,
13.
1-3. And then did my 21 kilometers in Mumbai.
Achha.
And Mumbai gives you energy. Mumbai has the energy.
The Mumbai Marathon? The Tata Mumbai Marathon?
Mumbai Marathon, I did my first 21 kilometers there.
Achha.
There I saw so many people finishing 42 kilometers, because the finish is same for 21 and 42.
Achha.
So I was seeing people finishing, nice roly-poly people also finishing at 42 kilometers. So there was happiness, there was positivity, there was everything happening there. That's where I decided, I said, chalo, let's get into running now. I do another run. Then I did my first marathon in Ladakh in 2015.
So Mumbai से सीधा लद्दाख, बीच में कुछ
Mumbai
नहीं.
se Ladakh, yeah.
Pune
That's,
marathon, Chennai marathon, none of that. सीधे Ladakh.
No, not really. So it was my first marathon.
But I've really not heard of the Ladakh marathon. Was it very popular when you did it, or you were like one of the 10 people running there?
No, 2015 when I did, it wasn't that popular.
Yeah.
There were very few participants, I suppose. I think there are hardly any members as compared to Pune and Mumbai.
Yeah.
But it was a wonderful experience. I'd been to Ladakh before, so 2013.
Bike pe gaye the.
Yeah. So that's the time I went there as a tourist.
Yeah.
That was my first journey to Ladakh.
Yeah.
And after that, I've been going every year.
Achha.
Maybe twice or thrice, but I've been going every year.
Achha.
So that's how the journey started about running.
So we will come to the more serious aspect, where you've really made a name for yourself. Like, you're the only Indian who has done the La Ultra 555. So 555 पहले बात करेंगे, फिर 30. I think the 333 was a big landmark for you. So it's a very important milestone for you there as well. But 555 just stands out because you're the only one we can meet in India.
According to me, every run has played an important role, because
Achha.
I've been learning from this every event.
Achha.
I always do that. I always analyze my event and I try to learn something from that. I still remember my first 15 kilometers, my first marathon, first ultra. So
Achha, let me
event
dial back a bit. When you did your first Leh marathon, now I have been to Leh 4-5 times. I've always ridden a motorcycle, and yet every time I go, everybody will give you this advice. First day kuch mat karna, acclimatize hona hai, running out of breath is a very common thing. Headache aayega to wo Diamox goli lena hai and all. Now you decided to do a physical event in Leh. So what advices were you getting going up there, and did you really prep for that thing? What was that process for the first time? Let's understand that, because I think that's your stepping stone into the bigger races. So what was the prep going on?
I'll tell you, Himalaya, you've been there 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
So why did you go there again and again? Because that's what Himalaya does to you.
Yeah.
It always calls you back.
Yeah.
It never happens that somebody goes to Himalaya and he says, "Basi, now I'm not going to come back to Himalaya." It never happens that way. Acclimatization, Dimos, all those things, this is reality. But I feel, I just love to be there because those mountains, mighty mountains, gives you energy.
Yeah.
And I feel that, you don't cross mountains.
Yeah.
There's a saying, very important, and I follow that, strictly follow that, because you don't cross mountains, they allow you to pass them.
Achha.
So when you go there and you surrender yourself to those mountains going to take you to whatever you want to do. They will give you that energy to do it. The moment you go there with the attitude, boss, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, with timing, then the Khadungla will just throw you back. So you go there, surrender yourself, and just be in the mountains. What I liked about running in Ladakh was you're there in that beautiful sky, the full open sky. You're running at 15,000, 16,000 feet.
Right.
You're just by yourself.
Right.
And it's a wonderful feel.
Yeah.
Because these activities, 333, 111, 555, you don't have many athletes. There are hardly any participants.
Correct.
But then there's a feel of you're running in Himalaya, you're doing the cruelest marathon of the world. And that gives me energy to be there. And Himalayas taught me difference between listening and hearing.
Achha.
I always say that, you must listen to people. And Himalaya always gives me a reality check. The moment I land at Leh airport, it gives me a reality check. Boss, Pune, Bombay, you are whatever, you are a champion. But when you're in Ladakh, you are in front of those mountains, in front of that wonderful nature.
But yet, I mean, just to recollect back to those first marathon, what was your prep? Just so that I don't want somebody to just get up and say, hey, I've taken inspiration from Ashish. Let me start running at the moment I land in Ladakh. So what were you doing for your first? And I believe you're an exception. So none of us should emulate you any which ways. We should find our ways of surrendering to the mountains.
Absolutely. I always say it's not only about running, but we should not copy anybody.
Yeah.
I always feel that way. I always tell the children also. Because if they see some footballer doing some weird haircut and he wants to do that, I said, don't do that. Why you want to copy him? You make your name. You create your own story. That is more important. So a similar way, everybody should have their own story.
Right.
It can be like, I know a friend who's done an Everest marathon for the first time. So that's something different he did. So whatever everybody likes, it is important. Important is to take a decision to go for it. Very important. You have to choose love over fear. That is very, very important. Otherwise, if we keep on discussing about things, ye karna hai, wo karna hai, nothing happens. You have to take a step to go for it. And that's why we have a company called Simple Steps.
Acha, you have a company. We'll talk more about the company, but you mentioned something very important. You have to surrender to the love over the fear. Now, I'll tell you the first time I decided to go to Ladakh. This was 2008. The tourist scene was not that happening back then, and we decided to do a slightly simpler stuff. We decided we'll go on motorcycles, not running or anything. And I remember everybody around us saying, "Pagal hai, kyun ja rahe ho? Risky hai, nahi jana chahiye." Everybody, and I was a young kid. I had pains explaining my parents, especially, to say why I wanted to do this and why they should be relaxed about me doing this. Has your family pulled you back when you said, I want to go and now run in Leh and things like that? What's the scene? How have you gained support from your loved ones for doing these risky things in the beginning? Now everybody is probably very confident. You will figure it out.
Right.
But the first time is the convincing time, right? So
there are 2-3 aspects to it. One is my family is always supportive. Now, the one answer I'll give it to you at the end of the show because that's very important. Because if I tell you that, then people will think that ye to bahut aasan hai. Anybody can do it.
Now you're making a mystery out of it.
So that answer I will give it to you at the end of the show. Family, my brothers are always been supportive to me, and whenever I decide to do something, my favorite dialogue is that I'm always surrounded by all the good people in the world. That's my favorite dialogue.
Well
because whatever I do, I decide, I take a decision. Say, boss, I want to do this. And then my friends and me all sit together and we decide how to execute that event. How do we do it in a good manner or a better manner. And I'm very focused about what I want to do. So I think then they all see that, this guy is just enjoying himself there. Then they want to be with me. Instead of pulling me back, they want to be with me.
You're surrounded by great people then.
Absolutely. So that makes a lot of difference. And so obstacle-wise, it never happens that, and sometimes, I don't tell my mother what I'm doing. She gets to know when I'm there, and then she have no other option than to support me. So
good lessons you're giving to the younger kids over here.
But whenever she initially it was difficult for her also because she's a mother, so there's always caring.
Yeah.
But whenever she used to hear about the distances, then it was difficult. She's never been to Ladakh. She actually still doesn't know what exactly happens in Ladakh.
Acha.
So never should tell her what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And slowly, it was a tough time for my brothers actually, not for me.
Acha.
Because they used to handle her. I used to be in Ladakh and they used to sit and talk to her.
Yeah.
So family support was no issue at all.
Acha. So now I would like to get a little deep dive into 555. So for a lot of us who don't know, when we say Ladakh, I think the two things that stand out is everybody knows Khardungla, everybody knows Pangong Lake, thanks to Three Idiots. And now there's Umlingla that some people know because it's become the highest motorable road.
Correct.
But Ladakh is not these three places. And the La Ultra 555 is definitely not these three pieces.
Yeah.
So walk us, how does the 555 travel? What are the different terrains you undergo? What is specific to those things? And then lastly, what are the parts that interest you in that particular journey? And I know your answer will be, everything is fascinating, but one significant patch that kind of tests you as a human. So just break down the 555 for us. And is the 333 an overlap of the same route or is it slightly different?
Yes. I'll tell you in short because if I keep talking about 555, I think we will not have time because that's a 5.5 day journey.
Yeah.
But it was a wonderful event. It's very close to my heart. It wasn't a race. It was an expedition.
Right.
You be there in the Himalayas. So in Himalaya, basically the distance comes, that's the fourth aspect.
Achha.
The first aspect is the 50% oxygen.
Right.
Second aspect is the cutoffs.
What do
Because
you mean by cutoffs?
Cutoffs is like you have to be there at a particular distance in a particular time.
Correct.
Why that is important is because in Pune and Mumbai, when we know that we have to be there by 9 o'clock, you can push yourself, you can go a little fast.
Achha.
But in Ladakh, you can't do that. If you go fast, then it can be dangerous for you. And dangerous meaning small things that doesn't happen there. If you have lungs in your water, then you can die. So that's very dangerous. So cutoffs is important. The third aspect is the temperature variation. Because daytime, it can be 35 to 40 degrees.
Is it?
Yes. And this happens in the month of August.
Yeah, I remember my skin was peeling off, but I thought it was just sunburn.
So because there there's clean air and we are at altitude, so the sun is really harsh.
Achha.
So 35, 40 degrees, daytime, nighttime it can be minus. In 555 we had a temperature of minus.
And you're
17.
running through the night as well?
Just throughout. You have 132 hours. I'll tell you the timing.
Yeah.
So this is the third option. The fourth difficulty is the climbs. You start at 10,000 feet in Nubra Valley. Then we go up to Khardungla, 18,000. You come down to 11.
That's happening in such a short range, like 40 kilometers you're climbing at that distance.
Absolutely. So 10,000, that's a graph. We used to call that as my ECG. So you climb the mountain, you come down, you climb the mountain. And so 10,000 you start, you go up to Khardungla, come down to 11, then you go to Warila Pass,
Achha.
which is on the way to, there is a Changla Pass and then parallel to that is Warila Pass.
Yes.
So you do that pass, you come down and then you go to Tangalangala.
Achha.
Cross Tangalangala, you go down to Debring, which is a village at 15,000 feet.
Achha.
That was the finish of 333.
Achha.
Then you take a U-turn there, you climb Tangalangala again. 17.5, you come down to 11,000. Then you climb Warila once again, 17.5, and then you finish at Shanti Stupa.
Oh.
So total you have 132 hours to finish this race.
Achha.
And so that was the event of La Ultra. And it is called the Crowless Marathon of the world. Actually, that happened when I did 555 because when we started, it started raining. The flag was, when we did our flag off, it was pouring. And we were drenched completely. So we started at 10,000 in Nubra Valley. By the time we crossed 12,000 feet, we were drenched completely. It was started getting cold. Khardung village, which is at 14,000 feet, it was freezing cold. When we reached North Pulu, we had a snow of almost knee level snow.
Oh.
Because I had never seen the Ladakh like this, like Khardungla
So
Pass
what
like
months
this.
are you doing this?
This
in?
is August.
Acha.
August we never have snowfall.
No, never.
But that particular time, there was rain and there was snowfall. And you won't believe at North Pulu, it was minus 17 degrees temperature.
Wow.
We had, I reached there about 3:30 in the morning. Okay. And it was freezing cold. There were DNFs. DNFs did not finish. A lot of people have
They just
discontinued
decided to
their
give-
race. Some people, they couldn't be there because you have to be there in a particular time. And though they couldn't reach there. So total, the atmosphere was a little difficult. Minus 17 degrees, so I couldn't remove my jacket. It was
I
terrible
wouldn't dare to.
situation. See, the snow, when there is a fresh snow, it is good when you go on a honeymoon or when you are when you're enjoying yourself, you're on a holiday.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
But when you're running,
You can't.
it becomes difficult because you're wearing sports shoes.
Right.
And the white snow gets converted into black ice.
Right.
It
And
is
you're
slippery.
slipping all over.
It was terrible.
It can be terrible.
There, we had to borrow clothes from people.
Hmm.
Those who were not continuing, we borrowed clothes from people because 16,000 to 18,000 and again back to 16,000 was a dangerous issue. And if I had to go with wet clothes, it would have been a very serious affair. So we borrowed clothes from people and I started from there. But I'll tell you, I want to give you a small, nice conversation because that was very important. One of the organizers, called Chetan, he plays a very important role in that La Ultra. When I was leaving that North Pulu, I was at 16,000 feet. I had to cross Khardungla Pass and then go down to South Pulu, where my crew team was supposed to be there. And then we continue the onward journey.
Acha.
When Chetan asked me, Ashish, how do you feel? He was expecting an answer, a nasty answer. And my answer to him was, Chetan, this is such a wonderful moment of my life. I've never seen so much of snow in my life. I'm a part of the cruelest marathon of the world.
Yeah.
And my target is to reach Khardungla.
Yeah.
So I never spoke about 555.
Well, I think that's what goes on your T-shirt then. There is
Yeah.
no such thing as bad weather.
Absolutely. So I'll tell you what the meaning of that is.
Yeah.
So I told him that boss, my target is to reach Khardungla Pass. I never spoke about 555. Where that was the final destination. But my target was to reach Khardungla Pass. And that positivity and energy took me to Khardungla. And then I was going down to South Pulu where it was slippery. I must have fallen down at least 35, 40 times.
Wow.
I was lucky that nothing happened to me.
Wow.
And I reached South Pulu where my crew team. And when we saw each other, वो मेले में बिछड़े हुए भाई कैसे रहते हैं? We met like that because they were listening to everything. Ki what is happening in Nubra Valley? What is happening at Khardungla? They got the information that the race will not happen because of the weather condition. That was the information they had. And they were worried about what is going to happen because, first 87 kilometers, the crew is not allowed. You have to be on your own.
Acha.
And we had decided to meet at 10:30 and I was there at 10:30. It was a wonderful feeling to meet them. And then we continued and we did about 170 odd kilometers total. Then I took my first rest of 3 hours
Acha.
at a homestay.
Acha.
Then we climbed Warila Pass, came down. Again, the similar situation. There was black ice, it was slippery. Same thing continued. Third day, Tanglala was sunny.
Okay.
So Tanglala, it was 37 degrees.
But that's
and
hot.
Hot, very hot.
Yeah, because there the snow is reflecting back the sun, and
Absolutely.
you're getting burned.
Absolutely. So then I went to Debring to take a U-turn at 555, U-turn. Went back to Tanglangala and, we made that event so comfortable because of the team. Because we had a fantastic team, crew team. We learned a lot of things from 555. 555 was an emotional finish. So we learned a lot of things from that event.
Yeah.
And we used those things in that 555. And, with 132 hours of cutoff, I could finish in 126 hours, 6 hours prior to the timing. That was a wonderful feeling. So.
How many people started the race and how many people completed that time?
See, 555 was an expedition.
Acha.
The La Ultra is an organization.
Right.
They were completing 10 years of their event.
Right.
That's why they announced 555 as an expedition event.
Right.
Okay. And 5 people started.
Acha.
3, one American, 1 Australian, 2 Indians, and 1 Polish.
Acha.
And out of 5, 3 completed.
Oh, that's
And
a
that
great
is the
percentage.
highest percentage of people finishing it because Triple one, there were very few people finished it because of the weather conditions.
Acha.
Triple two, only one person. Triple three, there was nobody. Only triple five had good finishes.
And what I'm getting a sense is you have to qualify for these races by completing the earlier version.
Yes,
so I
yes.
can't just go and start doing.
No, you have to do. You have to finish triple three to participate in triple five.
Got it.
So now I will tell you the best part of triple five. See, if it was happening for the first time.
Yeah.
There is a place called Lato, a guest house, which is at 13,000 feet.
Okay.
Okay. 13,000, you start from Lato, you climb Tanglangla Pass, which is 17.5. You go
Right.
down to Debring, which is 15,000.
Right.
You turn 17.5 and go down to Lato.
Correct.
24 hours, 100 kilometers in that particular terrain.
Wow.
Okay. So that was happening for the first time. Even the organizers were going to check whether this is humanly possible. To sustain yourself 100 kilometers in that particular terrain.
Yeah.
And we were the victims. They were checking with
You're
us
not
whether
the
this is
victims,
humanly
you're the
possible.
survivors.
Whatever. So that time we were the victim. But it was wonderful. So even they were worried whether this is possible.
Acha.
Because, to be in that altitude for 24 hours, moving continuously, whether that is possible.
Acha.
And it happened.
So when you talk about finish, your 333 was an epic finish, is
Yeah.
what I have learned from your the documentary that's already out on your 333. What was happening there? It looked like some confusion initially, or there was some misinformation, and then you had a very tight finish, Ashish. I mean, the cutoffs, if they were to be measured very accurately, you cut it really close. Tell us what was happening there.
It was absolutely a fantastic finish. I'll tell you what happened exactly.
Yeah.
So triple three was the first endurance event we were doing it in Ladakh. So
Yeah.
triple one, it starts. You have got 20 hours to finish it. So
Acha.
it was comfortable.
Acha.
Triple three, we had 72 hours. Okay, and I never knew what exactly is to be do, what we should practice, how we should train for triple three. And I had jumped from 111 kilometers to 330 directly. There's nobody in Pune who can tell me what I should be training, what exactly I should work on to. So there was nobody. I wrote to a few athletes who had done triple three before, Goras of course. And one of them wrote to me, and then he wrote to me in his style because his approach was different.
Acha.
And I had to follow my strategy, my training pattern, what is available to me, how much time I have. That way I had to train myself. So I made my plans and I was working onto it. I did whatever training I had to do, and then we were there in triple three. So my crew team was also all set for 333. It was their first time also.
Yes.
So
Everybody's learning on the job.
absolutely. And we didn't sleep well, we didn't eat well.
Acha.
A lot of things which happened in triple three, which we overcome everything in triple five. So what happened the last 20 kilometers, when I reached Tanglangala top, okay, Tanglangala to Debring is 20 kilometers.
Acha.
And that was the finish. Tanglangala top, I was there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I had 3 hours to do 20 kilometers. Comfortable, because you had to go down anyways. Of course, there was altitude, but it was going down. I was still okay. Okay. Rather, from that Lato, when we started climbing Tanglangala, my brother was with me, who was in the army. And we started that Tanglangala in style, with all army style. We climbed that Tanglangala. And I was leading. I was the first one to reach Tanglangala top. And then after about 1.5 hours, maybe I asked one of the volunteers how many kilometers to go. He gave me a wrong information. He said, we have 17 kilometers to go.
Acha, it was an innocent mistake?
It was a wrong information. And,
But it was innocent, right? Or was there some...
no, it was just
ways to motivate
probably,
you?
see, there you don't have signboards. No?
Yeah.
1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, there are no signboards.
Acha.
He gave me a wrong information, and that got stuck in my mind that there is something wrong. See, that was the first time in the history of La Ultra, there were Indian participants. And that got stuck in my mind that the organizer wants to do something special because the Indians are finishing it.
Acha.
That got stuck in my mind.
Acha.
And that is high altitude, you can say it, what do you call that?
Hallucination?
Hallucinations.
Yeah?
Yeah, I forgot the word. Now I think I'm hallucinated.
Okay.
So hallucination.
Yeah.
And when we started, after that point, I started telling my crew members, boss, I have done 333 kilometers. You guys are making me run only because the organizer wants to have a special finish. So they said, nahi, we just have to go a little ahead. They started talking to me. They said, Ashish, you were supposed to give us a birthday gift and all, whatever. So they were playing a very emotional part. For them, it was a tough job because they had to push me also. At the same time, there were doctors who were running with me. Doctors said that, if this continues for a while, there can be a permanent disability. So we have to be very careful.
Achha.
Okay. This was all happening at 330 kilometers.
Right.
We were moving ahead.
So 3 kilometers to go.
Slowly we were moving ahead. I used to tell them, boss, enough, whatever. One point, I called my crew team driver. I told him, I said, boss, these guys are not listening to me. Let's get into the car. We will go back. And that was a turning point because driver couldn't say no to me and my crew team was talking to me. If I had to sit in the vehicle that time, everything would have been over.
Achha.
But they said, nahi, Ashish, little more. That was all happening. The two doctors came to me. They started asking me questions. Ashish, who are you and why are you here and all the stupid questions. I told them, I said, doctor, I understand everything, but you can't be part of such a fool thing. Like, you can't be part of playing a game like this time. You're doctors. Yeah. And then, luckily, there were three members. One young boy. There was a Craig, there's another New Zealand guy from New Zealand who's a friend of ours. And one more fellow. They all one came with a finishing ribbon, one came with the Indian flag. Then they said, Ashish, you just have to go to this corner, and take a turn, and then there's a finish. And I was hearing this for last 30 minutes. Yeah. So I told him, I said, since there were new faces, I told him, boss, this is final now. If there is no finish after this turn, then I'm going to run. Not going to run. This is going to be over. I'm going to sit in the vehicle. It was very, very tense atmosphere there. And we kept on moving, and actually there was a finish after that turn. So the cutoff was 72 hours, and I finished my run in 71 hours, 59 minutes, 29 seconds.
31 seconds
31
to
seconds prior. So it was an absolutely emotional finish.
I'm getting goosebumps listening to you
There's a video to it, and what a wonderful finish I had. Immediately they put me on oxygen, maybe for 2 minutes. But those people are using that photo for all the marketing stuff now.
Achha. But why didn't somebody just come and tell you, hey, only 4 more kilometers to go at that point in time?
Hey, that time, running with that? The hallucination is you get something in your head and you stick to that.
Achha.
So probably even if they had to tell me that 4 kilometers, I would have said, boss, this is wrong.
Achha, this is just low oxygen going to your brain.
This is hallucination, complete hallucination. So some part of your brain gets activated and it sticks to that. And then, so that all happened. So when we came back, I analyzed my run, what exactly happened, how much to eat, what is quality sleep, all those things I learned.
We talked a lot about the 333, 555, but the bad water is really bad. What's that experience? Why is it so bad?
Actually, best part was I did Everest Marathon before that in the month of May. 29th May was Everest Marathon, where I was at 17,600 feet, where the temperature was in minus. I came back to India, and in July I went to US to do Badwater, where the temperature was 53 degrees plus.
Oh,
okay. And
that's the Death Valley.
That's Death Valley, and that is the hottest place on the planet.
Yeah.
And they organize that. The Americans knows how to market their event very well, and how to convert that into an opportunity. That's what they did. And even I work on the same parameters that, whatever difficulties, we look into it from a positive angle and you enjoy them. First day when we were driving from the place where we were staying, from there we were going to the flag off point. And I got out of my car. We had a crew vehicle again there. When I came out of the vehicle, it was terribly hot. Okay, because I was sitting in the car. No? So when I came out, it was like, as if somebody is burning you. I said, boss, I have to run here. That was the thought which came. But when you're in a comfort zone, it becomes difficult to handle it. But when I was at the start line, then I was comfortable. After that, we converted that into 5 marathons. So it's 135 miles, so 217 kilometers which we do. For us, the third and the fourth marathon was very important because it started at 8 o'clock in the night. In the night also, you have the fumes coming up. Okay. Important part of Badwater is you have those straight patches. Okay, you can see that road for 30-35 kilometers.
There's no change
in
terrain.
Up down completely.
It can be psychologically
absolutely, and that was the beauty of that run. You can't run on a tar road. You have to run on that white lines. Okay, why? Because the shoes melt. That's what they say. Nothing happened to me, but that's what they say. But it was beauty. Like when you hear all these things and then you want to do that again. It was wonderful. Badwater I did quite well, and in fact we could have done a little better also. I'll tell you a story which happened there. At about 2 o'clock in the morning, okay, we were going comfortably, we were doing absolutely well. We had our vehicle with us, and every 1 kilometer you have to drink water, every 1 kilometer, and either the water gets warm or you finish it. And our team, we just had a discussion. I said, why not we opt for the first Indian, fastest Indian to finish this? Because we were doing pretty well. And I was telling them, I said, we don't want to get into this fast thing and all. Let's enjoy our run. But we had that discussion, let's do it. And finally I said, chalo, let's do it. And I started running very fast with a good pace, okay. I was running pretty well. I got compliments from 2 Japanese girls also at 2 o'clock in the morning. We were doing very well, and we must have done about 15 odd kilometers with the pace of 5.5 minutes per kilometer. And after that, suddenly my vehicle, crew vehicle, disappeared. I didn't see them, and I wanted water. I said, these people asked me to run fast, let's be the fastest Indian and all, and what happened to them? I thought they went off to sleep because they were also awake. No? And for about 30 odd minutes, the vehicle didn't come. And I was thirsty. Then I started walking. I was into that momentum of full speed running, and then suddenly it dropped to I started walking. After about half an hour, 40 minutes, Arvind and Geeta, the 2 crew members, they came in somebody else's vehicle. They had some water bottles with them, and then they came to me and said, Ashish, don't worry, our vehicle got stuck in the mud. So we're trying to do something, but you don't lose your confidence, and then we are with you. Whatever you want, we will give it to you. That particular time I said, boss, I was telling you all, I said, I don't want to get into this fast running. I want to enjoy my run and all. That was not right, because that's all part of the event. And so I was with them, but then I lost that momentum of fast running. And we did slow and steady. After about 1 hour, the vehicle also came, and then we went to the finish line. Yeah. We did well. We finished it in 38 hours, where the cutoff was 48 hours. We did well. But there I learned you have to be more composed and calm, even if things goes wrong. Because I got angry. Said, I was telling you all why to get into this. So that's not right. So that's a lesson I learned from that.
Must be a rare occasion.
You still have to be very composed, because these are all part of the activities, because it's not their fault. They were there for me. And that was a wonderful learning I got at Badwater. But a wonderful event. Yeah.
So Ashish, in this particular part of our podcast, I would like to focus more on the human body and the limits and recovery and all of those things. So I'm guessing that when you're running, especially the Leh Ultra is definitely enduring, but if I look at it, 60 marathons every day for 60 days, I think it's taking a lot of toll on the body.
Right.
You might be one of those genetically blessed as well. So let's leave that part to science. But how do you recover? How does your body recover so fast after such a grueling session at the run? Where do you feel the aches first, and then do you practice anything for recovery? Are you taking ice baths? What are you doing?
See, first of all, this is all mind game. Okay.
Achha.
So you have to be mental to do mental things. So that is very, very important. So when your mind is ready, your body follows. So you have to train your mind so that the body follows. This is very, very important. According to me, you can say 60% is your mental strength and 40% is your physical strength. So these things are not happened overnight. This is, I've been running, I've been cycling, I've been doing different activities to build your mind, to build your strength, leg strengthening, all those things, I've been doing it. So leg strengthening plays a very important role. Decision is very, very important. And to be in the zone is very important. Officially, if you look at ice bath, what you mentioned just now, that is the success. Like I always believe in ice bath.
Achha.
I always take ice bath, especially when we have multi-day activity happening. Then ice bath is very, very important. Like 60 days, 60 marathons, I used to have ice bath every day. Even when we did low to high, 76 days, we were on the highways. But still we could manage that. We had an ice box. So we used to get ice from somewhere, and then I used to have ice bath every day. So ice bath gives a fantastic recovery. Good stretching is very important.
Often the most underlooked aspect of recovery, I think, stretching.
Yes. So I always believe in warm up and good stretching. Very, very important. Normal situation, if you talk to anybody, if you have a shortage of time, you have a meeting, then what we say is that a coach is given a 15-kilometer run. We always try to do that 15-kilometer run. I said, "Aaj stretching nahi karenge because I have a meeting at him." Well, I feel that we must cut down on your run, and then stretching plays an important role. 90% of the injuries happen because of muscle stiffness.
Sure.
So stretching plays a very important role, and good warm-up plays a very important role. So I always follow that. Plus, so ice bath is very important. I've been doing that for 60 also and for low to high also. And meals on time, whatever eat. Like
How many meals are you taking?
See, it varies from event to event because if you look at low to high, I was on the highway. We were staying in roadside hotels. Sometimes used to get good hotels. Sometimes used to get some.
So you're not planning your stays. Jo mil gaya reh liya.
Every day we used to find, like a team used to go ahead, like last 20 kilometers, a team used to go ahead, find a place which is either behind or a little ahead.
Achha.
So we used to stop at 60 kilometers, 65 kilometers, and they will decide a place where to stay. Sometimes you have a stupid place to stay where there is nothing, no facilities available, but then we had no other option. We used to have our breakfast. We had a schedule, like, I used to start my run at 6 o'clock in the morning, then tea break at 7:15, then breakfast, and then lunch. So everything we were following that. I was eating everything because I can't have when I'm running on the
When
highway.
you say everything, explain what's everything.
Everything is we used to have biryani for first I think 35 days every day, almost every day.
The Pakistani team is getting trolled while you say this.
No, why I'm saying biryani is because that was the safest bit. I wanted to have proteins also. That's why biryani. And south, you get fantastic biryani. Okay, and rice becomes much easier to digest. So we used to have our meals at about 8 o'clock every day. Even though it was an outside food, instead of eating masala, it's always the biryani was the safer option. Afternoon, we used to have dal, one roti, dal, and little bit of rice sometimes, and curd. That was compulsory. The moment my team used to say, okay, this is the place, I used to go there, they used to order for the meal. I used to go there, the buttermilk used to come first, I'll have buttermilk, then dal, roti, one roti. This I was doing it for almost 45 days. Every day, same stuff. But we followed that. So important was to be there because, even if I had to fall sick, then things would have been different. Yeah. So I had to sustain myself for 76 days. Yeah. So whatever is easy to digest, we were following that.
But what's your meal plan look like when you're not doing anything? Like
on a day-to-day,
what did you have?
Day-to-day.
What are you doing today, for example, for your food?
See, day-to-day journey, I don't follow anything much as such, like, a specific diet plan. I always feel that diet should be which is available to you and which is affordable to you. That should be a diet plan.
McDonald's?
Because it is very important. If sometimes somebody will tell you some high fundu dietitian will give you some diet and he says you have avocado juice every day, which is very good for health. It is good for health, but probably I'll do that for 2-3 days because to get that avocado, to find that place where you get this avocado, and then you have to pay that much money also. So that there's no discipline. So if you have something which is available to you and affordable to you, there's discipline. According to me, discipline plays a very important role. Everything is good. Every food is good. Every exercise is good. What is important is to do it every day. That is very important.
I think people in Pune see you in restaurants quite frequently. So you're not shying away from digging in an occasional snack as well.
No, I eat everything. See, my belief is that whenever I eat something, I eat with happiness. There I don't think about calorie badega, ye hoega. I don't think of that because if I like gulab jam after my meal, if there's a gulab jam which comes in front of me, I eat it with happiness. I just love them. I call for vanilla ice cream also and then I have with them. But next day morning, it is in my hand to burn those calories. So I do both the activities with a lot of happiness. So I'm happy all the time. So according to me, when you talk about the meal this way, that if you notice, most of the people who talk about these calories, they have little bit of, they want to have gulab jam, but they will say, too many calories, so I'll have only half. So whatever they do it haphazardly. And they don't exercise in the morning. So What's the big deal? I feel everything is in our hands, so whatever I like, I must do it.
Do you
So-
think this is also coming after these many years of experience that you now know how your body responds, or
Yes.
were you more meticulous in the beginning when you said, "Oh, I'm now going to run, so let me plan my meals," because professional athletes seems to be doing like that. So where's your knowledge coming from about how to organize yourself and your body for these grueling tasks?
See, I will say that we have to understand our body. That is very, very important. And ultra running. So when I say spend time with yourself, ultra running, you ask me about what do I talk to myself and whatever. So when you spend time with yourself, when you're alone, it is very important. Then you slowly understand your body. About injuries also and about your diet also. What happens to your body when you do any activity? Sometimes it can be just muscle soreness, and then you know that this is a soreness. How much importance I should give it to that? That happens only when you spend time with yourself, because every body is different. You go to a doctor, he's going to treat you as per a general information what he has, but when we know our body, we don't have to go to a doctor all the time for small thing. So we try to get those things. Whatever has happened to you, you try to cure them as per your strategy, and many times it works. Because when you understand your body, it works well. I feel the important thing about the food is you should have meals on time. Breakfast on time, lunch on time, dinner on time. If I am going to have my dinner at 12 o'clock in the night with a lot of masala in it, it is definitely not going to help me. So if I have regular home food, according to me, our Indian food, I won't say Maharashtrian food, Indian food, we have everything. We have carbs, we have proteins, whatever, fibers, whatever you name it, it's all there in that meal. So I usually follow this. And whenever I register for an event, when I actually start practicing for an event, that particular time I add little more things, more proteins to it, depending whatever activity I'm doing. Add more eggs, more paneer, whatever, chicken, soup, all those things. Then I try to add that because my training also increases more because I do a lot of 50-kilometer run, 100-kilometer run. Then I need that nutrition so that when you hydrate yourself well, when you have your nutrition well, then you can sustain well for your activity.
I think hydration must be an important part of your runs.
I keep it natural. I don't take any gels. I don't take any fasten up or any other concentrated thing. I don't do that. I use pure water everywhere. And we've invented sattu. So there's that sattu, chana sattu you get. So we've been using that for 333, 555, all those activities. You won't believe when I went to US, when I was doing that activity, Badwater, there was one of the Goras who came to me and he asked me, Ashish, can you tell me more details about sattu? And I was like, zapped, how come this one is asking me about sattu? I asked him, I said, how do you know sattu? So he said, I've been following you and I saw some of your interviews and you were talking about sattu. And I said, oh, this is nice. This is something important. So that's the Badwater. He was attempting Badwater. And it was a wonderful thing. So sattu works well because that's
So what's Ashish's recipe of sattu? Can you share your secret recipe?
There's no secret. Sattu you get it anywhere. And
so it's basically gram flour.
So chana, so chana the powder, and my crew team, they make it. It's a secret actually from their side because they make it and give it to me. I don't mix.
So you're adding some
because
food.
Whenever I'm running, then it is they take care of this, and they do a fantastic job, and it is wonderful. It's very tasty. I can tell you, it helps me to sustain myself for whatever time. No issues at all.
Oh, superb. So on that note. What I would like to know is, do you measure your body parameters? Are you one of those people who will have your e-watch on the time and then like, what's my pulse rate? Did I run this many kilometers? Do you measure, like you've run so much, but I asked you in the beginning.
Not at all.
How many kilometers you have run? You don't seem to have an answer for that.
I don't get into technical stuff at all. See, either you go deep into it, you know everything, then it is good. And I'm not that type of person who wants to go deep into technicality. So I don't follow all these things. I go with my feel. How do I feel? Sometimes you feel down. So at that particular time, I don't run. But if somebody is running with me, I can tell him that what pace he's running. So without looking at my Garmin. So I know what pace I'm running, how the feel is, what is happening, and so a few things I definitely followed when I was doing 60 marathons and when I was running 76 days. So every 15 days we used to monitor our electrolyte levels.
Acha.
So that was important because
So that's a blood test.
That was important because when you're running for so many days, burning so many calories, the electrolyte levels can go haywire. And that happened when I was running for 76 days because the Haryana, Gujarat was really humid. Like we started a run at 93% humidity. So I used to stand at the flag-off line and then I used to be wet completely, just standing there at the start line. 93 degrees humidity. So it was terrible. So every 15 days we used to measure that. If there is any change, then we used to change our hydration plan or to sodium level we used to check. So only that's particular thing which I have done. Otherwise, day to day, I don't do all these things.
Do you know what's your resting heart rate?
I had checked once.
That's an understatement. I've checked once. You can't.
So I don't get up in the morning and then check my heart rate, but it is definitely less than 35.
It's less than 35. So something to learn there.
So it's.
I would be very curious. Next time we meet, I would like to know what's your heart rate when you're sleeping.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. How low do you go?
We will meet again, and that particular time probably I will tell you what the resting heart rate is.
And do you know how far have you stretched it on your runs? Have you ever measured that?
No? That definitely I've never measured. Like where the heart rate, because especially all my runs, majority runs are in Ladakh, and Ladakh you have to be away from all these things. You can't because your heart rate has to go up.
I'm so glad you're saying this because recently I had a chance to go with some friends and family to Ladakh. And everybody, there were some people who feel a little paranoid about going there, and a lot of them carried pulse oximeters in their purses and bags. And you reach Khardungla and everybody is not looking outside of the view, taking it in. Everybody is saying, now what's my heart rate here? So a lot of that breathtaking view was actually taking the breath away.
When you tell anybody that you're going to Ladakh, out of 10, 8 people will give you advice. Because we have a lot of doctors here. No, besides the official doctor.
The Google doctors.
We have a lot of
WhatsApp doctors.
They always want to give their advice. And 90% of them, they will scare you. I don't know why. Because Ladakh is like, I was talking to some friends, they wanted to do Khardungla challenge. And I was telling them, boss, it will be wonderful to be there and you're running at Khardungla Pass and with beautiful sky on top. And they just said, Ashish, you're not saying anything about altitude and it is so scary and all. I said, well, that is all there. That's reality. But unless and until you enjoy your run, it's not going to work. You have to be in that zone of Ladakh. Then all those things, we will do everything, what is required. How do you acclimatize? How much water you drink? How you spend time outside? Because, slow and steady is the rule for Ladakh, number one. Number two is any anxiety, any excitement creates a problem. And if you keep on checking your oxygen level, it's going to create a pressure. So why do we look at that? If there is a headache on the first day, it can be because of the flight. If you've taken a late night flight, you've not slept, there can be a headache. So if there's a headache, what you should do? All those things are there. So, very important is when anybody decides to go to Ladakh, not to listen to anybody. Just listen to yourself. That is very important.
That's a very good advice. But on that note, you're also very nonchalant about many things. Like diet, you seem to be like, I eat everything. It's not something I measure. You're not measuring your body parameters, unlike how many people I would know. So I want to kind of ask about what's the technique of running nicely. Because what happens is, I'll tell you, I will barely run 100 meters and I will be out of breath. So my chest, I know, is giving away. But more importantly, if I even stretch a little bit, my mind is giving away before my legs do. But my shin will start hurting. So everybody's been telling me that I probably have a bad technique of running. I should lower my step size so that I start landing on the ball of the feet and all of those things. So what's the technique of running well? How do you run well for so many hours and not hurt yourself?
See, very, very important is to go for it. Okay. I'll start from a different style. Many times, like suppose I'm a runner, so if I'm talking about running, somebody will say that, "Arey, chalo, bhagna chahiye." Then he will try to buy Asics or some good shoes. That these are running shoes. Then he'll say that we need a dry fit T-shirt. He wants to buy a dry fit T-shirt. So according to me, when I feel that, if I listen to Ashish and I want to run, I must go for it. Whatever shoes I have, whatever t-shirt I have, I must go for it. Do that for a while. Then you understand whether you really like running. It may happen that, boss, running is not my cup of tea. I do what I like to do. Maybe I feel that, everybody should follow their passion, chase their dreams. That is very important. If you talk about running, how do we start? Instead of starting running immediately, I feel that, we should start with walk jog.
Achha.
Because most of if you run on the first day, definitely your shin is going to pain. So because the body is stiff, it's not used to this, so definitely there is a soreness. And so when you start walking, keep a target for yourself. When there is a target, then you want to achieve that. You walk, say, 5 kilometers in 1 hour. Stick to that 1 hour. Do that for a week. Then you increase by 200 meters. So next week you have a target of, say, 5.2 kilometers. So when you have the target, you want to achieve that. Then next week you add another 300 meters. So you have a target of 5.5 kilometers. So that way, if you build it up, before you realize, you are walking, you are jogging, and then you are running on the ground without any problem. So if you build it up slowly, gradually, definitely it's going to help you.
Any major injuries in all these years of running? Any niggles,
no
if not
major
anything?
injuries. Actually, when I was doing 555, there was Achilles tendon issue. There was swelling at Achilles, and I went to Ladakh that way. The organizer of La Ultra is Dr. Rajesh. He looked at my Achilles and he said, "This is painful. How are you going to run?" And he said, "Ashish, if you're my patient, probably I would have made a lot of money and all. Whatever." Delhi guy. So, and I started my run with that, with that. And
Stiffness.
Achilles is very painful.
Yeah.
But believe me, like I always say, I'm surrounded by all the good people in the world, including the man on top. And he said, "Boss, there was snowfall. So I spent more than, you can say, about 35, 40 hours in that snow. And because of that ice pack, what I got, there was no pain at all. And after that, the pain is vanished. It's not there. There's no issue of Achilles any time after that. So that is the only time I had Achilles issue. Otherwise, no major injuries as such. The small things keeps happening. That's all there. That's all part of your journey. So.
Okay. So you mentioned start with whatever shoes, but what's your favorite shoe today after these years of running?
Not really. There's no particular brand.
No?
So I don't have a sponsor, so which I have to say that, these are the best shoes and all.
Yeah.
So according to me, all shoes are good, which is comfortable to you. That is important.
But anything that really stuck out to you saying, "Oh, this, I really loved running in this shoe."
I've
or
been
something?
using Asics. This time for low to high, I use Adidas, which was comfortable.
Achha.
And I use Brooks also. So, but for me, usually I have no complaints. See,
That's something that I'm realizing, that you're too positive a guy to be true. I mean, it's very hard to be this positive. You say, enjoy whatever you do and things will be fine. I don't complain about weather because, I'm never going to witness this weather. Whatever food came in front of me, I'm going to have it because that's the best way to enjoy it. How can you be so positive all the time, Ashish? What is it?
That is what the ultra marathon is all about.
Yeah.
But
my bet is you were first positive and that's why you could do the ultra marathon and not the other way around. Ultra marathon did not make you this positive.
Ultra marathon, you become an ultra marathoner.
Yeah.
Nobody can be an ultra marathoner. I want to be an ultra marathoner.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that
So
way.
what's the secret? How do you maintain positivity? Because there's something that you said in the beginning. I have an answer that I'm going to tell at the end.
That is for the extreme activities I do. So, ultra marathon, maybe, we can relate this to my childhood. As a child, I was staying in a very small house. My family, my father, mother, my brothers, we used to stay in a small house. And my father was working very hard. I used to see him typing, okay? But I never saw him complaining about his typing. He used to type day and night, and still he was working also. But I always see him happy. Never complaining about he had so much of pressure and, that is happening. I never saw him complaining. Probably that is coming to me. That whatever I like to do, I'm just enjoying myself without any pressure anywhere. Similar way to accommodate things. When you have a small house, your mother takes care of all the household things. She basically runs the house. So how do you manage your house, with limited resources? Probably that is coming to me and that is what is required for ultra marathons. whatever you have, how you make the most of the situation.
Do what you
whatever
can
is
with what you
might-
have where you are.
And according to me, that's an important lesson, because whenever you make use of the resources you have, everything works well. Usually we sit and crib about things which we don't have, and that creates tension, that creates pressure, and that gives stress. So probably these are the two things which has come into me directly, and because I have not done any course anywhere where I learn all these things. So and over the period, probably these things have, and then Himalaya is teaching me a lot of things. I keep listening to people, so that tells me that Ashish, you still have so many things to do, because in this beautiful world, there are so many people doing so many things. So that encourages me to do better and better things. I think that's the reason. So, maybe.
Yeah. Is it very expensive to do an Ultra 555?
What is that?
Is it very expensive
Yes,
to do an
yes.
Ultra 555?
It is very expensive. 333, 555, all these events are expensive. Badwater, Everest Marathon.
How much? I just want to know the ballpark number, like for a 555 for your prep and actually participating. What should one expect?
See, it works out a big amount, because you have the crew with you.
Yes.
You have to take care of the crew also.
Yes.
You go there at least 20-25 days prior to
Right.
get acclimatized better. Plus, you're training for so many days.
Yes.
When you're training so much, then you lose time for your work also. So actually, if you work out, it becomes a big amount. But officially, for that particular event, if you look at, probably we had a target of about 15 to 17 lakhs
Achha.
for 555. That time when we did 555. So it is an expensive affair for an event, and that also plays an important role. Because see, when you don't have a sponsor, then it becomes very difficult for you to get things you organize for such funds, and then do your activity. So 333, I will tell you this, because this is a very important part. 333, when I registered, again it was a similar budget. Now what do we do with this so much of money? How do we get this money? Because when you're socially active, like I'm socially active, not on social media. When you're active on social media, then probably chances of you getting a sponsorship are much higher. So we never had a sponsor. And we decided to do crowdfunding. Okay. And crowdfunding, like I was not very keen in doing crowdfunding, because I'm not used to this. There was no cause or anything which I was running for. The only cause was like fitness. So there was no official cause for, the money is going to go to such some NGO or whatever. There was no cause. Initially, it was difficult for me to handle that mindset. That, because when you know that people are collecting money for you, and then you have to perform. What happens if I don't go to the finish line? So that was an important mindset which I had to come out of. And I worked onto that, how you should be focused about your event. Because it's not that people are not collecting money because you don't have money. It is only because you're doing something different and you're training for it. And that's why people want to achieve their dreams through you. That way, I started looking at it that way. And it was that way, because a lot of people they want to be part of that event. And the best part, when I went to the finish line of 555, the beauty was, like what I like about 555 is, it was my dream, one person's dream, to go to the finish line of 555 kilometers. I got hold of my friends as crew team. So it became a dream of 7 people that, we should do 555 kilometers. When I actually started running, I know there are about 1,000 people in Pune. Directly, indirectly there were a lot of people who were following. But here they had made different groups. There was some Rupali group, this group, that group. People were following. And, every time there was a discussion that Ashish has done 200 kilometers, Ashish has done 300 kilometers. So that there was that positivity, and everybody wanted me to go to the finish line. So I said, my one person's dream can get happiness onto 1,000 people and positivity. That's the best feeling, So
I think your
that
positivity
was
is
the beauty
rubbing
of
everywhere.
555. That was wonderful. So
Very nice. We were talking a lot about body parameters, and more recently, there's been news about an incident wherein one of our leading prospective medal winner couldn't compete because she couldn't lose 100 grams of weight. The difference was as low as 100 grams. And then I think the following story is of a male wrestler who could lose 5 kgs of weight in a day, compete, ended up winning the bronze and all. Uh, have you, again, I understand from our earlier conversation that you're not measuring all of this. Uh, have you measured your weight before and after a run? And
Yes, definitely.
How are you losing?
That is very important.
Yeah.
Usually my weight is same for many years, but when I was doing 60 marathons, I lost about 5 to 6 kgs. When I was doing 76 days run, that particular time again I went down to 65, so 6-7 kgs we lost. But only for that particular time. In a month's time, I get back to my.
But it's not happening in a day, right? Like when you start in the morning and in the evening when you have completed your run, is there a big difference?
No, not. I don't check that that way. Every day I don't check my weight. So even our team had decided that, but I never took that seriously, because that builds pressure for no reason. If I feel that especially in Rajasthan and Gujarat when there was humid, that particular time we used to measure weight for sure, because I knew that there is something going wrong, because we used to lose so much of water in body. You've seen that ad. That sun sucks that from the boy's head. That sun sucks that
straw
water.
through the head.
It was that kind of a situation. It was that bad.
Cramps and things would follow, I would guess.
Usually I don't get cramps.
Achha.
So that way hydration was good. We used to drink sufficient water. We did everything. What is required, we were doing that. Never got cramps. Only first day of 76 days I got cramps. I don't know why, but first day of 76 days run, I got cramps.
Has there been a chance that some doctors have walked up to you and said, hey, you're going to wear out your knees very fast because you're running so much? Is there something like overusing our body?
No, it never happened that way.
No?
Not doctors. Doctors, I usually try to be away from the doctors. So usually I don't go and meet them. And all those doctors who are with me, they are my friends. So they usually never tell me that don't do this and don't do that. Only thing is, while 555, I think, 333 or 555, I don't know. That particular time, somebody had said that we must do 2D echo and ECG and all those things they had said. And I don't know what you call that. On a treadmill, you do that. What do you call that?
It's the stress test.
Stress test. Stress test. Yeah. So you can remember that.
But I'm very curious. I do a lot of medical devices. I'm very curious about you as a human, representative of a unique human specimen. What is your lung capacity? How much is your Vmax? And how much is your sleeping pulse rate and things like that? Because you seem like an outlier to a large part of Indians.
It's not that way. It is a common thing. It's just that, I decide to do it and I go for it.
Yeah, that's also
Out
a rare
10,
ability to do.
9 people, they think about it and they don't take a decision. According to me, it is possible for everybody. It is just that they have to take a decision to go for it. And then, step by step, you move ahead and think about bigger dreams, bigger challenges. And it works well. So, VO2 max I've done once. So, VO2 max and stress test.
Yes.
So, somebody said that you must do stress test. Another friend of mine, he's a doctor, and he said that who asked you to do stress test? So I've been running, 2 days back I had done 100 kilometers run, and they said, no, you must do stress test. I said, okay, let's do stress test. So I went to the hospital, I did stress test. While doing that stress test, they asked me to run on a treadmill.
Yes.
And I'm not used to run on a treadmill at all. I never run on a treadmill. That was the first time I was running on a treadmill.
That's also very surprising.
So looking at me, that lady said, do you do any exercises?
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm running for the first time on this treadmill. But she looked at me and then they said, इनका heart ऐसा है. I said, so I got scared. इनका heart को क्या हो गया? I said, there is something wrong. Then the cardiologist came and then they said, "Arey, nothing, don't worry, nothing." Runners usually have a different heart, it seems. I don't know. The heart is little on the bigger size. Whatever, that's what he said. And he said, nothing to worry, you can register yourself and you go ahead and do 555. So these are a few incidences here and there. That's it.
I see a Olympic tattoo on your arms. Any unfinished dreams with the Olympics?
I can't dream of Olympic now.
Yeah.
Why I got this tattoo done? This tattoo I got it done almost 10 years back now. So, see, Olympic is a very competitive sport. And that's where I usually don't talk about age. But Olympic, I have to talk about age because the type of activity which I'm into, running or riding or cycling, whatever. It is very competitive, and that's where the age matters, because we have all the youngsters who are competing like anything. So Olympic, I usually now dream about. See, Olympic, what the best part of Olympic, what I like is to play a national anthem. And if you look at the anybody who gets a gold medal and his national anthem when the flag is going up, if you look into his eyes, you see the entire journeys, you see the entire hard work. And that's the moment which I always love. So if I can't get into Olympics, my idea is that whatever I like playing national anthem at my finish line. So Umlingla or any activity. Umlingla, when I reached to Umlingla 15th August, which is 2 days later, we were there, we had our national flag going up, we said national anthem, and I had the entire journey in my eyes. So I've kept that feel alive, not the competition, but I've kept that feel alive. And so Olympic is the fantastic festival of discipline. I call that as festival of discipline. And it's a wonderful journey, wonderful stories. You look at Olympic and you're charged up to do whatever you want to do. There's so many stories of all the athletes. So it's a wonderful event. So if I can't be part of it, but indirectly I want to be part of it. So that's why the tattoo.
Any other tattoos that we should know of?
There is runner tattoo. And
that's the one on your t-shirt, that's it?
That I'll do it after one more target. There's another target I'm looking at in the month of February. So maybe this is the logo of Mind, Sweat and Glory.
Achha.
That's the book which I came out with. It's a wonderful book. The name is Mind, Sweat and Glory. Why Mind, Sweat and Glory is because to do anything in life, what you need is a good mind. Okay, without sweat you can't do anything. You have to sweat it out. And it has to be celebrated. I always believe in celebration. So glory, you have to celebrate. That's why it is Mind, Sweat and Glory.
When we started and we narrated all your races in the beginning, उसमें एक Leh Ultra 555, Leh Ultra 333, and then there's Ultra and there's Marathon. And coincidentally, the marathon is also about 42 kilometers, which coincides with our talk of 42 talks.
Absolutely.
So how are these distances, and what's an Ultra? And what's 111, 333, 555 for the general audience? Can you explain?
Yes.
How did the 42 become a mark of a marathon? Why not 50? Why not 40?
So marathon for many years now. For the first marathon which happened in Athens. So somebody ran from one particular point to another point to give a message. And then he died. And he ran about 26 point some miles. And that's 42 kilometers, 42.195, that's the distance. Okay. So from there, I think it started as a marathon. So when you talk about 42.195, it is a marathon. Anything beyond that, it is called an ultra marathon. So it can be 50 kilometers, it can be 100, it can be 200, it can be 555. The distance, there is no limit to it because there are plenty of events which happens across the world. So that is ultra marathon. So I know ultra is a very tempting option because a lot of times when people hear about ultra, then the ultra kingfisher comes in the picture. So people get happy. Arey, ultra, this sounds like ultra, interesting. But ultra marathon is a distance. It is not a beer. But when you do an ultra marathon, then it's very happy to enjoy a beer. So that is also important. So ultra marathon is about anything beyond 42 kilometers. La Ultra is an organization. Not an organization, it is their event. Event is called La Ultra. La means pass. So in Ladakh, all these passes, Khardung La, Changrang La. So La is a pass. So the top of the mountain is pass. And La Ultra. So pass, and then you're running an ultra. And you're crossing the mountains. So you're doing 1 mountain, 2 mountain, 3 mountain. That's why it is called La Ultra. And they do these distances, 111 kilometers, 222 kilometers, 333. And 2019, they introduced 555 as an X edition. So these are all kilometers. And this is their specialty, which is the cruelest and the highest ultra marathons of the world.
Got it.
That is the La Ultra is all about.
Yeah. No Ironmans to the title? Ironmans don't...
Not really. Ironman has become a very glamorous. It's a wonderful sport, no doubt. And I'm into a kick of ultra running. So I enjoy myself in ultra running. So I said, let's stick to ultra running. But I might maybe sometimes if I feel like doing it, I will go for it. But as of now, not thought of doing an Ironman. So still into ultra running. I more into community running. I just enjoy myself in getting people together, getting people together with my activity. There are a lot of people who joins me. I just love doing that. So.
You're upon realizing a dream about community running. You're trying to build an app and a system. This T-shirt is a part of that reward system as well. Talk us. How are you trying to get more people to run?
With this, last year I did this event called Low to High. So why low to high is the theme was everybody feels low in their life at some point, okay, and everybody feels high in their life. But both these phrases are not permanent, okay. Especially for people when they feel low, they should aim at high. They should look at high and enjoy the journey towards high. That was the idea, and that's why I'm running from lowest point to the highest motorable road. And so we started from Kutunad and went up to Umlingla. The idea was Ashish was running for 76 days to celebrate 76th Independence Day, reaching there on 15th of August. Cumulatively, across the world, we had a target of 76 lakhs kilometers. The two types of people what I was looking at, one is who's already into fitness, that they're going to help me to build the mileage because 76 lakhs is a huge number to achieve. The other set of crowd was who believe in tomorrow, who believe in Monday, who believes in New Year target. All those people. They always look for some option. यार करने का है लेकिन होता नहीं है. So I wanted to be that Ashish. I wanted to be that flagship to. इसकी वजह से चालू हो गया. I wanted to be that way, and that happened. Actually, low to high, that happened. I got so many messages, so many emails, phone calls. People actually took their targets. The idea was everybody should take their own target in whatever place they are. We had people join from Africa, we had people join in Canada, in Pune, everywhere. Idea was to take their own target. So Ashish was running for 76 days, they should take a target for 20 days, 30 days, but do their activity on a regular basis. And when you do any activity for about 25 days continuously, then that gets converted into a good habit. And when the habit is generated, then it's very difficult to break that habit. That was the idea. And people, they did that. So a lot of people took their targets. They were walking, somebody was cycling. So we had that option of walking, running, cycling, and hiking. And we couldn't achieve 76 lakhs, but we could achieve a sizable number. And about 11,000 people who joined on that app.
Oh, that's big.
That's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. And I was so happy that, people are taking challenges and every day we used to take that number. I was running, I used to get this number and I used to be happy, and that was helping me to sustain myself for 76 days. So similar way, I'll look for more options. Actually, this happened in university when I was doing that Guinness attempt. It was not for any record as such. I was supposed to run 50 marathons, 50 days to celebrate my 50th birthday. That was the idea.
So at least we know the age is out now.
So you're 50 plus. Unfortunately, I have to say that. Yeah. But that became a big thing. It was a Guinness record. So everybody knew that I'm celebrating 50th birthday. But when we were discussing on that, and somebody said, 50 marathons you are doing, why not do 59 marathons, because there's a Guinness record who of 59 days. I said, if we're doing 50, why not do 10 more and then do a Guinness record? Why Guinness record is because when you're doing a record, it helps you to build people, get more and more people involved. I had invited almost 30 groups, school group, college group, basketball friends, plenty of friends. So every 2 days there was one group coming in, and what they had to do is just be there, click a photograph, and if possible, there were about 8 loops I had to do, 5.2 kilometer ka 8 loops I had to do every day. So I used to tell people, ek loop to karo. And that's how so many people came together. And I could see that people celebrated their birthdays. A lot of people did their first 21. People who were not running, they started running. There were university teams who were working there. They had never seen university by walking. They used to come to their office, gaadi leke aao, kaam karo, and go back. And then later on they called me and they said, "Arey, we didn't know our university is so beautiful." And that's where I saw, and that happened in 2021 and 22, where we were just coming out of COVID. That time, positive activity was required. We couldn't ask for getting people together officially, but still we had a lot of people who came there. There was self-belief. What happens is, when you talk about Guinness record, we always had that, this is not for a common man. Guinness record is for Goras. Usually we look at any extreme activity, we look at people from outside India. And either you need a lot of money or you need a lot of time or extreme fitness to do these kind of activities. Right. But when people saw that, a friend of ours who stays on Bane Road and he's doing a Guinness record and he's enjoying ourselves, so many people joining it, I could see that self-belief happening. And with that, people who were doing one marathon, they started doing 2 marathons together. Because nobody had that belief कि अरे एक marathon के बाद में दूसरा marathon भी हो सकता है. They could do that. And that encouraged me to do low to high. And I think low to high is encouraging me to do another activity where we'll invite more people. Whatever we learn from low to high, probably we'll add that and make a bigger event.
All the very best to you for that event.
Thank you.
You've sounded too positive through this entire podcast, let me say that. But I'm pretty sure you met with disappointments. You may have abandoned the race sometimes. You may not have been able to complete it for whatever reasons that might have been. Has that happened? How have you dealt with such incidences?
This is a very important story in my life. This is the beginning of my ultra marathon career. I will say career or journey. Career is the wrong word. Journey. These comrades and that profile you mentioned about comrades.
That's the South Africa.
That's in South Africa. So South Africa in Durban, this race happens, comrades. Now they're celebrating 100 years of that event. It's a wonderful event. 20,000 people who participate in that event.
Okay, that's big.
I had done only one marathon of Ladakh marathon. And one of my friends, I was sitting in one of the fast food joints and one of my friends said, Ashish, do you want to go for comrades? I usually say yes to everything, and then I said, yes, why not? Let's go for comrades. I was not ready for that, actually. And then there was that qualification that you have to finish your marathon in a particular time. So I had to do Mumbai Marathon. So I did Mumbai Marathon to qualify for comrades. I did Mumbai Marathon in a good time. I was qualified for comrades. I went to South Africa. It was a wonderful feeling because, that was my first ultra. Wonderful feeling because you represent your country, you're wearing a t-shirt which says India, you have your name written on that, and you have different country athletes which are there, and it's a beautiful location where you stay. So I was very happy to be part of Comrades. It's an 89-kilometer run. They have up run and down run, 87 and 89 kilometers. I was doing up run. When we started a run, so I'll tell you about the event first. 87 kilometers, you have 6 cutoffs. You have to cutoffs again. You have to finish your run in a particular time at a particular point. Otherwise, you are out of the race. So 6 cutoffs, out of which 5 I did very well.
The first 5?
First 5. After finishing the 5th cutoff, I had 40 minutes and 7 kilometers to go. Okay, which is comfortable, which we can do it in Pune. I was doing it at Pune regularly. I got into comfort zone. I started talking to people. I started wasting time. About 3 kilometers away, one of the volunteer girl, she comes to me and she says, Ashish, because you have a name written, she said, Ashish, you have 3 kilometers to go and 15 minutes in hand. I was shocked. I said, boss, only 15 minutes. I started running very fast. Full speed because I was comfortable. It's not that, I had any pain or anything, nothing. It's just that casual approach. And the finish is in the stadium. Okay, it's a wonderful electrifying atmosphere because the stadium is filled with people. There is countdown and 20,000 people. So whenever you are in the stadium, there are people with you. I got into the stadium. So I was in a good shape because I ran so fast. I got into the stadium. I could see the finish line, which was just 200 meters away from me. And there was a buzzer of 12 hours. So you have to finish this run in 12 hours. And when there was a buzzer, we looked at each other. I said, what happened? And everything was over for us. We went walking to the finish line. And, when you go to the finish line, you have all these sympathy messages. People keep telling you, boss, array, you're a finisher, don't worry, you can come back again and do this. But let me tell you, these sympathy messages are not good. They make you weak. So you should ignore them. And when I went to the finish line, I met some friends from Pune and they wanted to click a picture. I was not really very happy, but clicked a picture. When I went to my hotel room, there I saw my phone. Okay, there were WhatsApp messages, my family members, my friends, and they were cheering me. They were saying that Ashish, come on, you can do it. 2 kilometers. This race you can you can track that online, and they were cheering me. And I said to myself, boss, this is not done, yeah, because you're spending money, you're going all the way to Africa, and then you represent your country. It's not that Ashish, it is India. And why you can't go to the finish line is only because you're casual approach. I said, this is not done. You have to be serious about whatever you do. That particular time, I changed WhatsApp DP. This is at 2 o'clock in the morning. This is all happening at 2 o'clock. My room partner, he also ran 89. I also ran 89. He was fast asleep and I could not sleep. Everything was in front of me. There's that hotel called Blue Water, which is right in front of the sea. My balcony was facing the sea and I was looking at the sea. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I changed that WhatsApp DP. It says, keep calm, 365 days to go. Okay. I came back to Pune and first of all, what I did is I accepted my defeat. Boss, you are a non-finisher. There was a program. That time, Comrades was not so popular. That there were not many runners who were there. So there was that function where they had invited Comrade finishers. So one of the persons says, boss, they've invited finishers, so what do you want to do? And I said to myself, boss, they've invited finishers. I'm not a finisher. So I better not go there. And I didn't go over there. I analyzed my run. The very important is I accepted my defeat. If I had to come with any excuses, because the excuses can be plenty. That I got cramps. The best way is to blame the organizers. There was direction. There was no direction. Whatever. I could have come out with any excuses, but I accepted my defeat. I worked on to what went wrong. I usually analyze my run whatever I do. I wrote down all the points. How much time I should spend at water station, double knot. That also was very important. Shoelace. Double knot. That was very important. So all the small things, I worked onto it. Next year I went to Comrades again and I finished my run 1 hour prior. And I specifically went to the finish line and I stood there. I wanted to see what happens and what goes through the person's mind, this side of the line and this side of the line. And I changed my WhatsApp DP after 1 year. So I kept my WhatsApp DP for 1 year. So the important lesson, what I always tell people was accept what it is. And I think that's a lesson for everybody in their life. Everybody's life. Because, the moment you accept things, it becomes much easier to handle it. It can be anything. It can be a disease. It can be your defeat, whatever. You have to accept it. Accept the reality. If I had to come out with any excuses that time, probably I wouldn't have been there at 555 finish. I would have been there in that circle.
Yeah, typically that's what happens. You have a defeat and then motivation to do harder stuff goes away.
Absolutely.
Sometimes. Very, very rarely you bounce back. So.
And that took me to, I think, then the journey started. And
you also have a documentary, a film that has been made on your life. Tell our audiences what's the title and everything so that they can go up and look at you really running the life there.
Recently, La Ultra has come out with a movie. This is Moving Within Mountains. That's the name of the movie, which is in Jio Cinema. It's a wonderful movie they've done. I've got some documentaries on ashishkasodekar.com where we made a site. So since I'm not so much into social media, after all my friends pushing me, we managed to get a website done. And we put some videos there. There are nice documentaries about 60 days, 60 marathons. There's a documentary about low to high. There's a documentary about Ashish. There are a few documentaries there. So ashishkasodekar.com is a place where we have everything under one roof. So that's the place.
We'll encourage our audiences to go and check them out to see how you really run. Because talking about running is not as fun as watching running or actually running. I'm pretty sure this is the question that you get after you complete a marathon. So Ashish, what's next? Because 555 to ho gaya. Abhi what's next?
Oh, there are plenty of things to do. 555 is a wonderful experience. I'm looking at desert run. I'm looking at another community run. I'm looking at Barclays, which happens in US. That's a jungle run. where you have to find your own way, you have to find those book pages. It's a different event completely. So there are a lot of things which I'm looking forward to. So as of now, enjoying myself at Fortitude Talks. That's a beautiful thing. So.
Before we get to say goodbye to you, there are two things. There's an Indian movement. The Indian government is trying to promote health, and you're one of the ambassadors of the Fit India movement. Any messages to younger and older people, sub 50? How should they start?
I'm too young to give messages.
Yeah.
But see, no message as such. Two, three things which I always believe. One is that we're not born just to pay light bills and telephone bills and EMIs. Our life is much more to it. Okay, so everybody should follow this. Every day in the evening, we should feel good about yourself. Like when you look into the mirror, we should feel good about ourselves, that I'm doing something. Otherwise, it's a normal day. You just get up and do nothing, and it's a normal day. So that is very important. You should feel good about yourself. There are too many role models in this world. I always say that we should have your own role model. You should be your own role model. Otherwise, we sit and praise people and do nothing for ourselves. There are so many people doing so many things. But what I'm doing, that is more important. So we have to start our story today, not tomorrow or yesterday. It is all about today. So being in the moment is very, very important. Today, what I'm doing, that is very, very important. Last thing I will say that, when you get up, there's a saying that there's only one life. And you have to live it and all, whatever. But according to me, there is only one death.
You die only once.
When you die, everything is over. There is nothing. But life comes every day. Every day in the morning when you get up, life is at the door. So it is up to us whether to live that life or to leave it, to enjoy that sense. So according to me, today is very, very important. Whatever we decide, we have to do it today. And that's it. We have to dream big. I can't just say that, I have to be good in my society or my city. When you dream big, then you start working towards it with small goals, start achieving small goals, celebrate everything. Whatever we do, we must celebrate with small things also, but we must celebrate. And then without any stress, you are there at the finish line of whatever your dream is. I think that's what I am doing it. So.
Yeah. It has been an absolute pleasure and inspiration. Your positivity that you bring to the conversation is very contagious. And I think my biggest takeaway was not the physical part. I may not be able to do it, but you leave a lot of inspiration in terms of whatever other things that I might want to do, how to build my mental strength towards it with determination and stay focused. We wish you really all the very best. We look forward to what's your next big dream, because that we are going to follow very closely. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to one of the 10 toughest men in India, according to Men's Magazine.
Wow.
Wish you more toughness and happiness, Ashish.
Thank you. It was my pleasure to be here at, as the name says, 42. The number is very close to me. I play with all the numbers all the time.
I hope we have a marathon run with our podcast as well, and it becomes an ultra eventually.
Very good. Looking forward to wish you all the best also. And
thank you very much.
Thank you.